guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today in the Ask SSM video series, got an email from a subscriber. This guy is 64 years old. He's been married to the same woman for 45 years. Yes, you heard that. That's probably a record for this channel. Had 4 kids with her, and now is a grandfather of 12. And of those 45 years, he spent 35 years doing dangerous work, working on an oil rig, taking care of her, the family, and all that, until he had such a bad injury he could no longer work. And that happened 10 years ago. Well, recently, he discovered on her laptop that, guess what? She's up to no good. She's up to no good and planning to meet some guy. Occasionally, she goes away for work, and she's going to meet this guy pretty soon. And this guy, obviously, from my interpretation reading his story here, is done with her. And he's looking for our advice on the best way to handle it. He gives us a bunch of situations and scenarios how he plans to handle this thing, but he wants to know our opinion, and I will most certainly give it. And I'll be going to go over here, guys, making the point. Number one, it's amazing how a guy could spend decades doing dangerous work, getting injured often, being in a place you could die, and taking care of the family, and this is what happens. Sure, I'm guessing working on a rig, sometimes he was away a couple weeks at a time, if that's the usual way of doing things. 2 to 4 weeks, I've heard, and then they're back for 2 to 4 weeks. And it can be tough and lonely raising kids. That doesn't give an excuse to do what obviously is going to happen here. But it's so amazing how they can a guy does everything he can, and boom, doesn't make a difference. And also I'm doing this, guys, frankly, to help a brother out. So he says here, hey guys, Brad here. Long-time viewer, first-time writer. How many times have you read a story like this? I never thought it would happen to me. Sir, more times than you can imagine. I'm 64 years old, and I've been married to the same woman for 45 years. We have 4 amazing kids together and 12 incredible grandkids. Well, congratulations on your family, sir. That's awesome. I'm going to say what everybody else is saying. I sure as hell hope those indeed are your kids. Ay, ay, ay. I met my wife our junior year of high school. We've been together ever since. I was her first and only, and she was mine. He says, I know, smack. Well, I hope that's true. I mean, obviously you could tell when you went and did your dirty deed. But afterwards, who knows? I hope not. There were very different times back in a small town in the late 1970s. I started on the oil rigs 5 days after I graduated from high school. I held every position and done every back-breaking job there. Hell, we went to work with broken and dislocated fingers all the time. That was just what you did. Damn, dude. That's tough. And yet you didn't complain. And I'm sure the other guys didn't complain. And you did what you had to do, and you provided for your families. And that's what pisses me off so much about guys like you. Back-breaking, dangerous work where you could die. And this is what happens. Anyway, Brenda, the love of my life, and I got married at 19 years old. 19? Smack! What was the rush? I mean, look, I spent a chunk of my life in a small town. My mom told me that's what people did back in the day, but I still don't get it. But, whatever. Different time, small town. And we had our first child by 20 years old. You got to grow up fast when you're trying to keep everyone fed and taken care of. We grew together, and by the time we were 30 years old, we had 4 kids and living the dream. 4 kids, man. Damn, that's tough. And you know what, to be fair, because I try to be reasonable here, like I said, I'm sure you were off at the rig sometimes a couple weeks at a time where you weren't back at the house, and she's taking care of 4 kids. That's tough. That's demanding, especially before they go to school and everything. But still doesn't justify what happens later on. Well, in 2009, I had a 3-ton piece of equipment fall on me, and it broke my pelvis, hip, femur, fib, tib, and ribs on my left side. Holy shit, man. I was back to work 5 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days later. Damn, dude. Workers' compensation does not pay shit. I was able to keep working on and off, and after my 5th surgery in 2016, they told me out. Okay, 2016. So you worked in on an oil rig for 35 years. Man, dude. So our kids are gone, and we could survive on what I was getting, but it didn't leave much meat on the bone. So my wife went back to work, and I took the job of house bitch. I'm not too good to do any job, and I never have been, so I took on the role as I did any other jobs, etc., etc. Well, you know what? You were busting your butt for 35 years, back-breaking work, and the injury you had, and you could have died. I think it's certainly fair that she now picked up some of the slack and got a job. And I'm guessing since you're 64 now, that was 10 years ago, so you were probably 54. Obviously too early to retire officially, so she had to come in and help bring in extra money. And you know what? Probably resented you for that. How fucked up is that? Brenda got a job for the county in 2016. She had to travel out of town for 2 to 3 days every other month. It was a regular thing for her. I was usually invited, and sometimes I went. I had no worries. I had none of the indicators, no hoarding the phone, or other sketchy shit. Hell, I use her phone all the time to find mine usually. Okay. None of the usual stuff that you guys hear all the time. While our family uses WhatsApp to communicate with each other, share pictures and videos, it's a great way to keep in touch. We were all in the same group. Important note here, I'm what you might call a techno-tard. I need help with my smartphone, and you can probably tell from my old broken down finger, typing is not all that great. So it took a few notifications coming into Brenda's notebook that I didn't get on my phone, and that was strange. I find her notebook on the side of her bed. I never hear hers, usually because she has her earbuds in 24/7. I open the notebook, and I find WhatsApp on it. It's not our family group. What a dumbass. So you use WhatsApp to talk to the kids and grandkids and all that? I mean, if you're doing that you're doing pretty good. And you find a separate WhatsApp on her laptop. Gee, I wonder why. That's the thing. A lot of these stories where guys don't see anything going on or suspicious on their phones, computers, and then they find out they have a secret phone or they have apps that they don't know about where they're communicating with someone. When I open up her notebook or the WhatsApp on her notebook, I see, "Hey, babe." He goes, "Yeah, you're fucking right." I opened it and I was sick. There were messages from Trevor. I never heard of this asshat before. Trevor was wondering if I was coming with Brenda next weekend. That sucks, man. All 45 years you've been married to her. Kids, grandkids. She has to throw it all away for some jerk-off named Trevor. He hoped not, so they could finally be together. Then my wife is responding, and I cannot believe what I'm reading. They texted back and forth, and they had to do some work. Oh my God. So the next trip for her, she's planning to get together with good old Trevor. Well, regardless if they got it on before, this is still an affair. And obviously, and you have to question now, what's been going on the last 10 years while you were at home because you could not do the job anymore, and she was off. And why did she do this? I mean, I could see her complaining that you were away all the 35 years doing dangerous work that you could have died, bitching about that. And I can see her bitching about the fact that you can no longer work that same job and earn that same income, and now bitching because she has to work, and therefore justifying this action. Basically, a guy can't win. Well, I started scrolling through the past messages, and there are pictures and videos of him, as he says, whacking his wiener, and her flicking her bean. I'm freaking out now, and I'm seeing red. My first impulse is to go grab my cheating wife and, well, I'm not going to say what he says, but it's not good. But I never raised a hand to a gal at all and never will. So I sat down and began to form a plan. I've listened to enough of your videos to know not to do stupid shit. Thank you. It is not worth going to prison over, okay? Nobody can blame you for, imagining, doing certain things that I can't mention in this channel. But it is not worth. You got kids, you got grandkids, all that. But also you can't stay in this scenario here. Well, apparently they have been sexting and shit for a couple of years now. All this time. The evolution or de-evolution of the romance was right there in the thread. From reading it, I learned Trevor works for a different county, he's married, and from the few pictures of his face, he's younger than her by quite a bit. I mean, she's sick. Okay, I'm guessing you're 64. I'm guessing she's pretty close to that. 63, 64, and she's way younger. Okay. From what I gathered, it's this week. This weekend, is it? They're going to be together, and the effers make me sick. They got all kinds of shit going on. So I called and asked Brenda if I can come with her this weekend, and then we can stop at her sister's house on the way home to break up the long drive. There you go. Way to mess with her plan. This month's workshop is 3.5-hour drive from here, in Trevor's hometown. How sweet. Of course. And Trevor's married, huh? Brenda told me she had only booked the one room, and her and Nancy, her coworker, were bunking together. She apologized and said, next time. I'm thinking if this weekend goes through, there will not be a next time. Well, I'm thinking even if this weekend doesn't go through, there shouldn't be a next time because of what she's doing. So I'm not sure what to do. Do I confront her before she F's up our lives? Do I let her do it and drive up and bust them? Do I pack up all her shit and leave it on the lawn while she's gone? If I make it through this without offing someone, it will be a miracle. Okay, like I said, this wasn't long, but we're here to help him out. Well, man, it's time to execute Order 304. Emperor Palpatine execute Order 66. Well, here in this channel, we execute Order 304. And that means it's over. I mean, my impression is you understand that now. I'm sorry it's happened, sir, but you asked, let's review, should you say something or confront her before she goes? Or do you let her drive up and bust them red-handed? Or just, hey, you saw enough and pack up her stuff, put on the lawn and say adios and begin the process? Well, if you confront her ahead of time, that doesn't give you a whole lot of time to gather a whole lot of concrete evidence and prepare all sorts of things you need to prepare. So I'm against confronting her before they go. And you said before she F's up your lives. Well, she's already F'd up your lives, so that's already happened. I'm sorry to say. What I think you should do is either make the choice of either going up there and getting evidence of them, plenty of evidence, or pack up her stuff, put on the yard. But no matter what, I wouldn't do anything immediately. I think at this point, if you haven't done so already on her laptop, when she's on the shower, when she's on the royal throne, something like that, get back into her laptop and WhatsApp and take pictures. Get as much evidence of the WhatsApp conversations as you can if you haven't done that already, and anything else you can dig up while you can. And then at that point, then you got that proof. But it may take her going up there and you going up there without her knowing about it and playing private eye in your car and snapping some pictures of them going into a hotel, them together, something like that, to help you out. But then again, if you're done with her, you're done with her. But that may be more for the inevitable confrontation you're going to have with your children and grandchildren and friends and other family members, because the likelihood is that when you confront her, one way or another, you're going to confront her about this whole thing, depending on what it is. The likelihood is she's going to do exactly what happens all the time in these videos. You're going to get a full-blown crocodile tears, and I'm so sorry. Or she'll probably blame it on you because you were away all those years and you neglected her and blah, blah, blah. The same shit you always hear. And some guys that has an effect on, some guys it doesn't. You don't strike me as the type that's going to affect. But regardless of her crybaby meltdown, then if you're not careful and control the narrative with evidence that you can gather from WhatsApp and also catching them with pictures and everything, hiding in the bushes taking pictures, it'll be very easy for her to probably work the emotions of your children and grandkids. So, now I don't know your kids, and I don't know your grandkids, but I'm sure one of them she could probably sway. So, frankly, I would gather as much evidence as you could. But here's the thing. If you go up and get footage of them, evidence of them together, can you contain yourself? Can you see all that and not blow a gasket and go up there and do something and get you arrested and put in prison? Again, it's not worth your life. And again, think of your kids and grandkids. But no matter what, I think you need to gather whatever evidence you think is necessary for yourself, for your lawyer, and anybody else, and the family members, because you got to, at the end of the day, you're going to do what you're going to do, but it makes it easier when your kids and family know. But I would also do this. So she goes this weekend. What I would be doing, again, is checking if you have any joint accounts together, joint bank account, joint savings, whatever, joint money market, you got to be prepared to get at least your half out of there. If you share credit cards, get her off your credit card. If throughout your house, if you don't have a safe deposit box at the bank or wherever you have your money with important documents like your birth certificate, social security card, marriage license, all sorts of important paperwork, tax returns for a few years, all those things. I would get them now, or at least copies if copies are acceptable, and have your own file that you can have access to, because you confront her. For all you know, all of a sudden it's a big drama fest, says a bunch of things, and you get kicked out of your own house because she has a restraining order against you. Again, you have to be prepared, because I've heard it all. The last thing you want is you boot out of the house and you haven't taken your share of the money out of the accounts, and all important paperwork and documents you need are in that house, and magically disappear. Have that stuff ready. Talk to a lawyer, at least one, find out what your options. The odds are with all these years, yeah, she's going to get half, and it ain't going to be pretty. And so at least you know what you're dealing with. But if you confront her immediately before she goes, again, you're not going to have time to do any of this stuff. So it'd be entertaining. I mean, it'd be entertaining as hell. You packed all her shit and put it on the front yard. She came home and but then again, you going up there, that's also, So you have to decide for yourself. But I don't see how there's any going back after this. I sure as hell wouldn't. And I might add, regardless of all the evidence you may gather, again, I don't know your kids. I'm assuming your kids are all in their 30s, maybe early 40s at this point. They may say, you're 64, and can't you forgive her, or can't you be together, and blah, 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 and to them, the family's broken up, because now every Christmas and birthday, there's going to be, inviting her, inviting you, and people will tend to be selfish about that stuff. So you got to do what's best for you, regardless. And you're also going to be setting an example for your children and grandchildren on how to act like a man who respects himself and has a spine. And believe me, with the line of work you've done in your life, believe me, I know you got a spine. You're a tough guy. You got to show them. And it also shows, and if you have daughters and granddaughters, what's going to happen if they cross the line. So you're not just, in essence, doing it for you. How you handle this also is an example towards your kids and grandkids. Remember, you never stop being a leader. And ultimately, you're the patriarch of the family. They're going to look up to you for that. So that's what I think. Now, ultimately, you have to decide which of the two options you should do. But it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but you will get through it. And don't let anybody say, oh, you're 64, and why would you want to throw it away now? Do you really want to stay with someone after that? You're never going to trust her again. You're always going to be looking behind your back. You're always going to be, if you would stay together and got romantic with her, you're going to be picturing her with Trevor, or anybody else for that matter. You're going to be questioning every time she's on that phone, every time she goes away for work. It's no way to live. But at the end of the day, it's your life, and you'll know what's best for you. But I'm just trying to throw out the different scenarios here, what can happen, what I think is the best thing. I mean, I've been doing this a while. So, sir, best of luck to you. That sucks, but you have been through what you went through, that horrible accident. You're tough. You're a tough guy. You will get through this. So definitely think on this and handle things best. But again, don't let yourself get arrested. Don't do something that gets you locked up the rest of your life. This is not worth it. No chick is worth it. No ass clown named Trevor is worth it either. And think of your kids and grandkids in that regard. So best of luck to you, and however you handle it, definitely down the road, let me know, and I'll be happy to hear from you. So guys, if you're watching this, let him know. Give him some support. He could use it. If you guys have been through this, and I know some of you have, let him know in the comments section. Any words of advice, counsel, he could use it. And let him know. If you want to hear from him down the road about an update and everything, type away. He definitely will. All right, guys, that is it for today. Again, comment down below, like I said, and be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.